Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Cimnanya. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. So it looks like they've been going around Black Connect corridors and dropping some messages like comments like this. The ones that I saw, have seen, we experience racism from you people too. We also experience racism and we also were slaves, right? And so somebody went to a Black Connect corridors video to drop between 1530 and 1780, Muslims enslaved a million or more European Christians in North Africa. And I am asking, go and hold Muslims responsible for whatever that happened to you people in North Africa. That is European Christian. And what were they doing? What were European Christians doing in North Africa? Now, I understand that some majority of them really want to be victims so bad because if you say anything, they will tell you that we experience racism and also there is reverse racism. So, who are the people? Last I checked, Black people do not hold the power to be racist towards people. These people, right? So how come you all are going around telling people or spreading this false narrative that you experience racism and then telling us about reverse racism, that we can be racist too, not until we acknowledge that we can be that, not until then that we are not ready to move forward. You people are not ready to move forward. Let's get into this.
Okay, so this white boy is in my comment section. I'm sure me describing him as a white boy triggers him. Call me a black girl. I don't mind being called a black girl because that's what I am, right? But this white boy is in this comment section, really going over about how, white people can experience racism. And this is one of the things that he brought up. And, this is kind of what I want to talk about. I definitely buy into the narrative that white people have experienced and can experience prejudice on the basis of their race. But when people bring stuff up like this, right? I know that it's a talking point that you have in your back pocket because you enter into these conversations a lot and you often only exist within them to dismiss them, right? That this is a very common talking point, right? That around the world, white people in various ways have been enslaved by Muslims, right? And it's it's aggravating mostly because let's grant this to you. Let's grant that this is a thing that is impactful to you to this day, that is worthy of acknowledgement, right? If you can buy into that, right? And that was as long ago as it was. I have a grandfather who used to be a sharecropper who was murdered by a white man, right? My dad, I believe he's 72, right? I have family members who remember racial segregation. If my father couldn't go to the best schools growing up, wouldn't that impact me? Wouldn't that impact his family, right? Why is it that so many people can buy into this idea that white people experience racism because of this, right? But then they can't buy into the idea that not even very far removed from my generation, people were enslaved, and that is naturally going to impact our positioning in the world, right? This is the point that I don't get, because here's the thing, and this is what I said in my original video. I think the only reason why white people talk about experiencing racism is not to actually address it. It's always to dismiss the experiences that people of color have, right? And that's a very weird way to talk about your oppression. And I've noticed this a lot with white people. I'm just going to speak very plainly, especially white people who have like one or two ways in which they're actually marginalized. You'll notice that they will very commonly bring it up to dismiss other marginalized people, right? So quite frequently, you'll have somebody who is, for example, autistic, right? And because they are autistic, they will overemphasize that, and try to control other people's way of addressing the bullshit that they just did by saying, well, but I'm autistic, right? Now, of course, if you're autistic, you know that that's not a good excuse for being a shitty person, but people still do it, right? To me, it's kind of like that, right? Okay, so you experience anti-white racism. Why is it so if that's true, why is it then so hard for you to understand that what I'm experiencing is systemic, right? Based on a long history of oppressing and holding back people who are not very far removed from where we are now. And why do you buy into the narrative that things are suddenly the same, right? If you can accept that this happened, why is it that you don't accept that not even that long ago there were things that happened to Black folks that put them in situations for which they would need things like affirmative action in order to actually move up in society, right? And to me, really what I keep coming back to is this is all just a waste of time, right? This is all just a kind of abusive waste of time, which is why I don't really want to keep having these conversations, right? Which is why I am going to stop talking to people about this shit, because at the end of the day, white people are always going to white supremacy. That's just kind of what it is, right? And I'm gonna speak very plainly in this video, because this is where I'm getting at it at this point. I've mentioned in a few different videos that like white people are basically like sheltered children who are lashing out right now. And I've had so many stupid conversations with white people about racism over the years that like, yeah, y'all are some fucking oversensitive, sheltered babies who, you know, it's like it's like you spent most of your life being homeschooled, right? And when you were being homeschooled, you were allowed to wear that blue dress, right? And so you went to school and there was another girl wearing a blue dress, and that girl looked a little bit different from you. And because your parents donated a lot of money, because, you know, basically the school was created to educate you, you're able to just kind of be like, I don't think that girl should come to school anymore with me, because you don't want to be another person, you know, wearing a blue dress at the same school, right? That's kind of what a lot of this is like, right? We can't talk about racism. We can't address systemic racism because I also did that or something. It's really weird. It's this very like immature, sheltered way of thinking, because I think that honestly, I think that white people aren't primed to sort of think about things in complexities, right? You know, I was expected to listen to white people be racist to my face, but then also buy into the narrative that they weren't racist, right? I think maybe because of that and other things, I've kind of like been able to see people where they are, maybe accept that they're going through something, but then also accept that I'm going through something, right? And I think that for a lot of white people, I think because they don't like these conflicts, they don't like these uncomfortable conversations, they just want to have something like this to bring up to end the conversation, right? It's uncomfortable for you to talk about systemic racism. It's uncomfortable for you to talk about the fact that even if this is true, where you are currently positioned, right? Where you are currently positioned is not in a situation where I have supremacy over you. You know, like white people really, they want to waste all of this time talking about this shit, entertaining these like false premises that I think you know is not true. I think you know that if we were in a room and somebody was accused of stealing something, that they would look at me before they would look at you. You know that. You know that whiteness in this society comes with innocence. You know that there aren't a bunch of people who are going to turn to you as a white man and think that you've done something wrong. And you know, look, I used to date this white guy who was a drug dealer. I didn't know he was a drug dealer at first, right? Um, I would, you know, it would always kill me how this like blonde white man, um, you know, would be seen as like such a good boy, and he was selling these kids terrible drugs, right? Like this shit really gets to me sometimes because like I think you know this. You know, being around white people and seeing how bold they are with the way they move through the world, right? You know that there's a certain aspect to our society that is not going to turn on you. I have to be so aware of how I'm coming across, where I'm walking, how I'm making myself, you know, appear in public, right? I have to think about it so much because I'm so overwhelmed with these concerns about how racism is going to be visited upon me. And I know that white men, especially, understand that they have a degree of freedom that is so much wider than that. And so I think if you know that and then you spend time doing this, you're really just being abusive, right? And I know this guy's not going to feel that way, right? Obviously. But like, what is a reason for you to talk about this if not that? Why can't you entertain the premise that if this is true, my very closely, you know, systemic racist experience is going to impact me? Why is that hard to buy into?
So this is all I got from this video. And sincerely speaking, I don't understand who actually told these people that they experience racism, because last I checked, there is nothing like reverse racism. And if you look around, majority of them really want to be victims so bad. And I really do not understand why they come around looking for a way to drop, or always looking for ways to drop some not so good comments on Black people's content or Black content creators video, trying to make us understand that man, it is not only you that experience this, we are also experiencing that. And I am always asking, what kind of racism are you people experiencing? What kind of racism did you experience? Last I checked, I did not see you people in plantation. Last I checked, I did not see some of you, like, you guys were not segregated, Jim Crow, and all that. So what is it that I did not see you people in a plantation and the rest of it? So what is it that is I mean, like, bothering you people that make them come out to tell people, Black people, that I mean, like, that they are also they also experience racism? And this has really been a topic that has been going around since this week, and I don't know who told them that. And I also do not know who told them that Black people could also be racist towards them. And also that they do not have privilege. Like, who really told you people? I mean, that your skin color or alone is just a coverage for you for the rest of your life. And the same people that will say that they do not have privilege, or they will, they cannot. If you ask them to give up their skin color, they will never ever give it up, not even for 1 second. Why? Because they understand and they know how important, or how that their skin, I mean, like, how immune they are without their skin color and all that. Sincerely speaking, I am with, there is nothing like reverse racism, because majority of them, when you tell them that are you okay, do not experience racism. I mean, but from Black people, you may experience prejudice, like, we in your feelings and all that, but you do not experience racism, because we do not hold that power to be racist towards you, right? And they tell you reverse racism, and last I checked, there is nothing like reverse racism. I really don't know who taught them that, but this has really been a thing. But yeah, it is what it is, and I hope you all can deal with it and stop. I feel like people that go around doing things like this are people that really want to be victims, right? You all want to be victims so bad that you want to, I mean, also put yourself in. I don't understand, but yeah, it's only somebody that is looking for attention that will do something like this. It's just like what white women did after election, like, that we saw the poll chart and how people voted, to find out that majority of them voted for who they voted for. And before we know what is going on, they came out with blue bracelet trying to tell you that we are the good ones, and they voted for. How am I supposed to know? Like, how am I supposed to know? So I feel that it's also the same way they go around looking for a way to tell people that they also experience what we experience. What do you experience? What do you experience? Or what have you experienced? What did your ancestors experience that made you come out to say that you all experience racism? From who? See you all in my next video. Bye for now.